Welcome back to the 2 Minute Warning, episode 285. Back on the topic of the NBA. Again, James Harden, part of a 4-team trade, going to Brooklyn. We just did a video about what it means for all the teams involved. This video more specifically about what it means for the Nets. Jay, can this team make a huge run this year into the playoffs?
Yeah, like Carson said, if you guys are interested in really the outcome and our predictions of all 4 teams moving forward, you could go look at the other video. We'll leave it in the description, and at the end of the video, a link to it. Just a very quick recap on it.
Get all the information on this whole entire trade.
The Pacers sent Victor Oladipo to the Rockets so they could get some player in replacement of James Harden, and the Cavs are approaching this 4-team trade to get some picks to send to the Houston Rockets. The Nets didn't have all of them. But you guys want to hear about James Harden leaving the Houston Rockets, going to the Brooklyn Nets, and creating a super team between James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and at the other positions, I believe they have Joe Harris, and if I'm not mistaken, I think his name is Jeff Green at center. Having that type of super team, having that type of talent, the expectations are pretty much finals or bust. I mean, when you have that type of talent, there's no other expectations, nothing you can live up to, no matter if you go to the Eastern Conference Finals the next 6, 7, 8 years in a row. If you go to the finals itself 6, 7, 8 years in a row, if you don't win the big one, it's not going to count. It's not going to be worth anything. Look how many times LeBron's been to the finals, and look how many people knock him for not winning all of them. It is what it is. I think really who wins this trade is really if they get to the finals or not. I mean, if James Harden and them, we kind of said in the other video, if they pull off just one ring out of this huge blockbuster trade, they win this trade for sure. If they never get one, Houston Rockets having 19 first-round picks at this point from this trade pretty much win this just because they're built for the future and built for the long term. The Nets are built for now. Not necessarily that's a bad thing because it worked out for the Toronto Raptors. They were built for 1 year and they won it all in 1 year. So can't say it won't work. But having Kevin Durant probably, in my eyes, might be the best player in the league. Yeah, LeBron, you can't really go wrong either way, no matter how biased or unbiased you are. They're the top 2 players in the league right now for sure. And then James Harden, amazing scorer. Kyrie Irving is probably the biggest concern of this team because if he's whacked up, if he's crazy, he's going to create drama across the team, across the entire organization. It's going to really throw off their game.
Stephen A. just said today he should retire, so obviously there's mess there.
For Stephen A., one of the most respected sports analysts, to call out a 27-year-old
28-year-old
player,
guy,
29, 30, whatever it is, and say he should retire, that is a pretty big sign in itself. So that is definitely a factor to worry about if you're the Brooklyn Nets. And even if Kyrie Irving is normal, say he checks in, like Antonio Brown coming back to the NFL, he's normal, he's sane. Say he comes back, Kyrie Irving's ready to go and play, that'll definitely mess up things on the court between Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. I don't want to say aren't all necessarily ball hogs, definitely ball dominant and need the ball in their hands to work their magic. Sadly, Kevin Durant is probably the best of those 3 for sure, in my opinion, yet is the least selfish of those 3, so we could see a step back in his game just because Kyrie Irving and James Harden are going to be dribbling across the court, driving across the court, and shooting across the court, and just leaving Kevin Durant sitting open in the corner probably. Not to say they won't figure it out in time, but I think at first, if these 3 are all connected, they're going to be very ball dominant and have some confusion and not click right away. I think they can make a deep run in the finals for sure, but as of right now, nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. Of course, Harden going to Brooklyn, joining Durant, arguably, not even really arguably, two top 5 scorers right there in itself, and then you add Kyrie into that mix if he gets it together. Arguably maybe top 5, but let's say 3 top 10 scorers for sure in those 3. So this team is absolutely, if everything goes well, ready to rival. I mean, who else good in the East? You got the Bucks, you got the Heat, you got the 76ers.
Yeah.
The East is, I guess, regarded as the weaker conference for sure. But it's not going to be an easy road straight to the top. There's other better teams, but this Brooklyn Nets team could rise straight to the top if all goes well.
Yeah, I think pretty much everyone right away thinks Nets and Lakers for the NBA Finals. I mean, who doesn't want to see that? Who doesn't want to see LeBron against Kevin Durant again, Anthony Davis, James Harden, Kyrie Irving? You know the list. Everyone's anticipating it. I want to see it. However, there are some things to get through. Like I said, the Nets having this super team now have definitely lacked depth. Losing Karis LeVert, Jarrett Allen, Torrey Prince. Those guys aren't there to help back up the bench. Obviously, I'm going to take James Harden in sacrifice with those. I'm going to take the risk. However, that could bite them in the ass in the long run. That'll be interesting to see when they play a Boston Celtics team, a Miami Heat team that is one of the best teams depth-wise with your shooters. That's going to be really interesting to see in a 7-game series. Yes, I think this super team could be any team in a 1, 2, 3-game series, but that's not how the playoffs and the finals works. It's a 7-game series of playing every guy on your team, and the Nets are limited after their top 3 guys. I think the Celtics and the Heat can give them a run. Now, am I putting my money on the line that they're actually going to beat them? No, but if they beat them, I wouldn't be surprised. Sixers between Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, they finally click and they got something working, especially with Doc Rivers. Dwight Howard is a great role player addition. The East isn't as easy as it used to be. West is definitely, in my opinion, much harder. But they're finally getting to a much more even scenario where these two conferences are finally at the same par. A big reason being is because you saw one of the Houston Rockets as one of the respected teams in the West. They are no longer one of the respected playoff teams in the West, and the Nets gained an even higher respect in the East. It's going to be awesome to see, especially when they play one of those very depth teams, like I said, with the Celtics and Heat. And then, of course, there's Giannis and the Bucks. I think Giannis still needs a little more help. Drew Holiday isn't going to cut it, especially with the Nets acquiring James Harden. Even if they didn't have James Harden, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving is a lot for Giannis and Drew Holiday. I think they'll definitely make the Eastern Conference Finals. I like Steve Nash being their head coach. That's awesome to see for him. I kind of want to see him finally get a ring on his own head coaching job. Yes, I know he got one with the Warriors, but I'm definitely going to go for LeBron still over the Nets in my prediction.
So I have a question for you. Kyrie played with LeBron where he had to share the spotlight. Of course, Harden and Durant have played together in OKC. You think there's any issue with the three of them having to kind of share the spotlight? You think there's any competition issue there in Brooklyn?
Are you saying on the court or like actual?
I'm thinking on the court. Are they going to get so competitive with themselves about who's going to score, who's going to do this, who's going to do that?
We saw James Harden and Russell Westbrook being two ball hogs. I don't want to say ball hog. I don't know if that's the right word. Very ball dominant. They want the ball in their hands, and that kind of didn't click, or else we'd probably see them play together more than just 1 year and have a first round or second round exit in the NBA playoffs. I think Kyrie Irving and James Harden are going to be in a similar situation. Even if it was just them two, I could see the exact same situation. But now you have Kevin Durant as well, who's probably the best player of the three, but is going to ask for the ball the least. So I think they're going to take the spotlight away from him when he deserves it the most, in my opinion. Hopefully Steve Nash can keep it under control, but I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Sounds good. All right.
Sounds
2-minute warning.
Two
Thanks
minutes.
for watching, guys.